you know, he is 7 feet and falling away, and he's one of the best scorers ever, right? So I thought he was extremely good. But, you know, we can withstand that. We can't withstand turn the ball over, missing layups, them getting out. Klay Thompson got up 15 threes. Can't give him 15 threes. We're switching everything and staying out for that reason. So we have to clean up some stuff and see if we can do it on Wednesday.
Well, 37 points on 14 of 27 shooting doesn't generate some concern. I'm not sure what will, Robin. Ryan Asselt alongside Robin Lundberg. Welcome to SI Now. The Warriors strike first in the Western Conference Finals, grabbing Game 1 in Houston, in which Kevin Durant, Robin, pretty much did everything and anything he wanted to against the Rockets. Now, D'Antoni says he's not concerned. He's putting on the right face. But can Houston really withstand a series if KD just does whatever he wants all series?
No. And that's what's so frustrating about Kevin Durant on the Warriors. There's nothing you can do. You can't even send help because he's got Steph Curry way over there and he's got Klay Thompson way over there. So, of course, he's going to cook whoever is in front of him one-on-one in space when all he has to worry about is scoring. I mean, the Rockets won 65 games. They have 2 of the top 10 players in the league, and they have no chance. And nobody has a chance against this team. I don't care if it was the 96 Bulls, Shaq and Kobe, the Dream Team. This is the best team ever assembled. And I just wish I had more fun watching them because we know what's going to happen here. And I don't know who is ever going to stop them. Maybe if Boston keeps adding. Maybe if LeBron goes to a super stacked team in the offseason. The Warriors are just unfair.
We understand what D'Antoni's trying to say, right? He's trying to say, Durant's going to get his. We have other responsibilities. And he talked about Klay Thompson getting up 15 threes and scoring 28 points. That simply can't happen if they want to hang in this series. But they did have some success against Durant during the regular season. They played twice. He averaged 26 points per game. But the big stat there was he only took about 16 shots per game. So they were doing something to contain him before he got the basketball. If he runs loose, gets the ball all night and getting off 25 shots, 27 shots, there's no chance that they could stick around.
Klay Thompson once scored 37 points in a quarter, right? I mean, this is a 73-win team that added Kevin Durant. They're 25-3 in the postseason since Durant got there. One of those losses came without Curry in the lineup, and another one came against LeBron, and it took everything that the Cavs had just to get one.
So let's be clear. This Hamptons 5 that they've come up with, this lineup, you're saying best ever assembled right now?
Absolutely the best ever assembled. Everybody else might as well go to the Hamptons right now.
All right, for more on the NBA Conference Finals, we welcome in our Sports Illustrated NBA analyst, John Starks. And, guys, it's time to start the shot clock. John, Robin, you guys got 24 seconds, of course, to hammer home your NBA points. So here we go. Rockets use 45 isolation plays in Game 1. That's more than double their usual amount. John, Houston's isolation style will be their undoing. We got 24 seconds on the clock. Go.
I agree with you 100%. You cannot play one-on-one basketball against a very solid defensive team like Golden State. They're always in the top 5 teams defensively every year. They know how to defend James Harden. They know how to defend Chris Paul, those one-on-one matchups. And they're very good defenders because they're switching everything. So I think that if they keep doing that, this series may be over very quickly.
All right, Robin, isolation. Can Houston continue? 24 seconds. Go ahead.
The isolation basketball is not going to be the Rockets' undoing. The Warriors are going to be the Rockets' undoing. This has worked against everyone else. They won 65 games. It's not their fault. It's not going to work against the best team of all time. In fact, in Game 1, their isolation possessions with Harden and Paul were far more effective than any of their other possessions in the game. They're doing what worked for them. It's just not going to work against this juggernaut.
All right. Robin? I'm giving you the point at the shot clock right there. The Warriors are just a big problem overall for Houston right now. All right, Rockets are targeting Steph Curry on defense. Robin, Curry is a better defender than he's given credit for. We got 24 seconds up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do believe he's a better defender than he's given credit for. He's not a liability. Of course, maybe you're going to target him over Draymond or Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson, but Curry plays good, sound team defense. He contests without fouling. He has active hands, and he's on a team, as John mentioned before, that is consistently atop the league in defense. When the other team has Chris Paul and James Harden in the backcourt, they're going to score some against you.
John, what do you think? Is Curry better than he's given credit for for on defense?
I think so. I think he's a very solid defender, just like Robin said. He do a good job of staying in front of his man. He got long arms. He always get deflections. He's always in the top 5 for his steals. So I think if they keep trying to go at him, I think they're going to get him a little mad. And you don't want to see him on the other end of the court either.
Interesting. See, it motivated Steph Curry because of the defense. On offense, you guys agreeing for a change. I don't see that too often here. All right, let's move on. In the East, Game 2 between the Cavs and Celtics is tonight. The Cavs will have to switch things up a little bit. John, Tristan Thompson will be a key for the Cavs against the Celtics in Game 2. You got 24 seconds. Go ahead.
I disagree. I think Boston is playing too well right now. I think Horford is just on a roll. I think that's going to be added motivation with Tyronn Lue coming out and saying that he matches up better against him. And I think Tristan Thompson is a key, but I think that overall they just have to play a lot better as a team.
Robin, what do you think? The Celtics exposed the Al Horford matchup. Tristan Thompson, is he a key? You got the 24-second shot clock. Go ahead.
I think he very well could be a key. Look, Kevin Love at center, what they try to do with that is expose your opposing center, make him play on the perimeter. It worked against Valanciunas. Horford is too disciplined for that. Historically, Tristan Thompson has given Al Horford problems on both ends. He's getting offensive rebounds, and he's containing him defensively. And I think the key strategy here is to get Baines in the game, because when Baines and Horford are together, the Celtics are not as effective.
It seems like Horford is having a resurgence here. He's a problem for wherever that matchup is going into Game 2. All right, LeBron often uses Game 1 of these series, right, to feel out his opponent's guys. Well, he said he has zero concerns after Game 1's loss. How about tonight? Cavs, Robin, are a lock in Game 2. 24 seconds. Go ahead.
Lock is strong, but for the purpose of this segment, the Cavs are a lock to win Game 2. We know LeBron James is going to respond. And look, I think you saw it in his cavalier attitude, I suppose pun intended, after Game 1, where he said this isn't March Madness. There's zero level of concern. He uses those Game 1s to assess what you're doing to him defensively. I think you'll see him attacking from the get-go in Game 2.
John, zero concern for LeBron. He usually steps up in these games. Is that equal a win tonight in Game 2? 24 seconds. Go ahead.
It should be a concern. He's not playing against Indiana. He's not playing against Toronto. He's playing against a very solid basketball team in the Boston Celtics, who play a lot better at home. They feed off their fans. They're different speed level than they do on the road. So I would be concerned if I was him. I don't see them coming in and getting game number 2. Obviously, LeBron had to have a big game, but I don't see it.
Certainly, you said not a lock, but you like the Cavs. Sound like John likes the Celtics. I kind of like the Celtics tonight as well. All right, final question. During the Warriors-Rockets broadcast, Steve Kerr said he couldn't have played in today's NBA. Now, John, you played in Kerr's NBA during that era. The NBA of today is better than Kerr's heyday and of your heyday in the 90s. So we got 24 seconds. Go ahead.
He's a coach. He's supposed to do that. You know, he's supposed to say those type of things. Today's game is a lot different, obviously. And the way we played it was more physical, more with your hands. You can get up into guys. You don't see that as much. I would have loved to play in today's game. The freedom that you have offensively is just incredible. Maybe Kerr, probably looking at himself, you know, he's a little slow-footed and couldn't handle the ball that well. Maybe he probably couldn't have played, but I would have loved to play this.
John, taking a little shot at the Warriors coach here. I like it. All right, Robin, what do you think? Kerr's heyday, John's heyday against today's NBA. Could they have played in today's NBA? 24 seconds.
Today's NBA is the best version of basketball that has ever been played, and I say that because of the square footage usage of the court. You have to close out so far. You have to get into so many switches. That's why you see these interchangeable 6'8" guys. And on defense, you're not just sitting there as a predictable post player is working and backing down and backing down. Now you have to spread out all over the court, and these teams can punish you from 3.
All right, I'm giving John the point here because I just love the 90s basketball. And I think John could play in today's NBA, so it was kind of double points there.
I couldn't play in either.
No, you probably couldn't. John Starks, thanks for being with us, man.
Thank you.
All right. All right, let's talk some football now with Albert Breer, the MMQB. And Bert, the legalization of sports gambling is going to have a widespread effect. Of course, every year, billions of dollars are gambled on NFL football games. Let's talk specifically about the league and football here. What's the impact of Monday's ruling on the NFL?
Well, I don't think that they're, and I know this, they aren't going to approach it the same way the NBA or baseball have, where they were looking for the 1% off the top. For two reasons. One, I think the NFL looks at that as a low-margin business. It sounds crazy because they're big numbers, but when you take the 1% off the top and divide it by 32, the numbers aren't gigantic in the context of what the NFL makes. So I don't think they view it as kind of something that's going to have a high return for them. The other piece of this, they're going into Vegas in 2 years. And so the idea of going in and taking money off the top from the sports books, what's that going to do to their relationships in a new market? So I think for a couple of reasons they're going to stay away from that. What you want to look for here, where I think it'll have its impact down the line, in-game prop betting. We see it overseas in the UK in the Premier League. It's a big deal over there. I think that's something that you'll see the NFL begin to start to try to implement soon. I think the ultimate impact is going to be when they're able to do it in the stadiums. And I'm not so sure that's going to be immediate because say we get to the fall and 5 states have legalized or 10 states have legalized, and maybe you have 20 or 25% of the NFL teams playing in states where it is legal. I don't think the NFL is just going to say it's okay for you, but we know you can't do it. I think they're going to wait for at least the great majority of the states that they play football in to legalize before they actually move on this. But I think in-game betting is where they see the primary business opportunity.
Are you surprised they haven't been more head over heels about this? I know there's concerns about the integrity of the game, but I would imagine those concerns were already there. And football, so many people gamble on football. I mean, fantasy football is gambling. I would think this is huge business for them.
They're already making money off of it. I mean, fantasy football they're making money off of, right? Daily Fantasy, Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft have invested in that. So they're already making money on that side of it. Clearly it's a gateway for a lot of fans into the game. That's why a lot of fans watch. I think you could argue without any of the leagues touching it, it benefits the NFL more than it benefits any other league. And so they're already seeing the benefits of sports gambling. The question becomes how you monetize it. And the truth is because they already make so much money, they don't need to be the aggressor here, where maybe the NBA and baseball look at it and say, we need to get out in front of these opportunities. The NFL can wait and see how some of the higher risk ventures work for baseball, work for basketball, and kind of pick their spots. I think the other thing that they look at here is where the in-game betting could lead to growing their fan base. And I think the fan today is a lot less apt to sit there for 12 hours on their couch on a Sunday like we did when we were kids 20, 25 years ago. This might
speak for yourself.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. But kids aren't doing that quite as much, And I think that the idea of trying to make football more interactive for the viewer is something the NFL's been trying to do for a long time, and this is a very tangible way to do it. So I think it could help with TV ratings. It help get people into the stadiums for the same reason people go out to the track to watch horse racing, because they can gamble on it live, and ultimately, I think they view this as something that could help them overseas too, where the idea of introducing football is something that you can gamble on while you're watching. I think that's something that they can kind of sell to markets that they've had trouble in, like China.
It should be interesting. Keep an eye on the in-game betting, because when you're betting on a negative outcome, integrity of the game questions start to arise.
Sure.
So they got to really iron that out. Charlotte, looks like we're going to have a new owner of the Panthers. David Tepper, set to take over and buy the team of the Carolina Panthers. Minority Steelers owner. He's going to relinquish that. He said he's going to keep the team in Charlotte. What does this new ownership mean for the franchise?
I think it's the fascinating thing about the way that this went. Jerry Richardson didn't come close to the money that they'd wanted to get. They wanted to get in the $2.6 billion range. They didn't get close to there. It's going to be a $2.2 billion sale. What's really interesting about it is the money they left on the table. Ben Navarro, who's from the Carolinas, was the high bidder. A lot of the other owners weren't comfortable with the way he made his money. And they felt more comfortable with David Tepper, like he's one of us. And so that was a piece of it. The other piece of it that I think is interesting too, the league's at a critical juncture right now. We've got the CBA coming up, the new television deals coming up, the way the media looks now, the way people are consuming football, it's just changing very rapidly. That guy right there, David Tepper, is seen by other owners as somebody who can be a very valuable resource from a business standpoint, not just for the Panthers, but for the future of the league and helping build the future of the league. And so I think Jerry Richardson, if he's operating in a vacuum, this team probably goes to Ben Navarro, the high bidder. and the influence of the other 31 owners and doing what was right for the league as a whole won out here. So Richardson sells to Tepper, who I think will come in as somebody who's very set in his business principles and will be disciplined in the way he runs a team.
All right, Albert Breer of the MMQB. Thanks for being with us, man.
You got it, guys.
We now welcome in Fox Sports studio host Rob Stone, as we're just 30 days from the World Cup, which will be airing on Fox and FS1 June 14th through July 15th. Now, Rob, looking at how the field is organized for group play, which group do you see as this year's group of death, per se?
If there's a World Cup, contractually, there has to be a group of death. And this year, unlike others, with the way that they seeded all the nations playing in the tournament, it was hard to really kind of pinpoint an obvious group of death. I say we go to Group F, and it starts with the defending champs, Germany. So whenever you're in a group with Germany, good luck to the other three nations right there. And what Jogi Löw has done is just make this German team so deep that an injury to the #1 goalkeeper on the planet, Manuel Neuer, doesn't even really faze Germany. So they kick off the group of death. And right behind them, then, you have Mexico. And a lot of people love El Tri, and for World Cups after World Cups after World Cups, they get out of the group stage and they make some noise and they can't quite get over that hump and get to the semifinals. And then you throw in a Swedish team. Whenever you got a European team in there, you're dealing with some type of heavyweight. And then South Korea is in that group as well. And the fighting spirit of South Korea, you just don't overlook. So I think you put those four together, every match is going to be an absolute challenge for somebody. And it kicks off with Germany-Mexico, one of the absolute premier games to kick off the opening round, and those two open up group play against one another. My prediction is I don't think Mexico makes it out of the group. I think Germany goes all the way to defend their crown, and I think it's Sweden that somehow finds their way to nickel and dime their way out of the group stage and play bonus ball.
When we talk about one of the tougher groups, let's talk about one of the easier groups in the host nation of Russia, which seems to have one of the easier paths out of group
play. Isn't it
play.
funny how that worked out?
Yeah, we got Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Uruguay. Yeah. How do you see Russia faring? And is there going to be some home field advantage?
There's always home field advantage in a World Cup. There's actually kind of more like home continent advantage usually. So you're going to give some favoritism to European squads playing in Russia. Having said that, the pressure that this Russian national team has to be under is absolutely immense. With Vladimir Putin is going to be there on opening day, and just having the boss there in the stands looking down at you.
Surprised he's not playing for them, scoring 6 goals.
Well, he'll score 6 goals shirtless. But I'm nervous for the players, with Vlad up there in the stands. But they have this wonderful opportunity to kick off the World Cup versus a very light opponent in Saudi Arabia, and it's a must-win game for both nations if they have any hope of moving out of the group stage. And my gut is if Russia can get some energy and get a result in that opening day, they're going to start to get Vlad, they're going to start to get the whole country behind them, and then you get this swell of momentum and optimism. I don't see them getting out, but I think it's a realistic proposition to say, yeah, they're going to give us a 4th game.
Of course, the U.S. failed to qualify for this year's World Cup. How about soccer fans here in the States looking to invest some time and root for a specific country? Closest, obviously, is Mexico. You kind of shed a little light on your feelings. Why do you think Mexico may not be the team for U.S. fans to kind of try to follow?
I love Mexico. I think it's a really solid team. They have 3 players that were called up that have Major League Soccer ties as well. Again, the preliminary rosters came out yesterday for many of these nations. I feel like maybe they're getting to the point where they're taking things for granted, that of course Mexico is going to be there, and of course Mexico gets out of the group stage. And I think that's a dangerous predicament, much like U.S. Soccer just said, of course we're going to be at another World Cup. And you get complacent, I think things catch up with you. But this Mexican team has some amazing talent across the field. Carlos Vela is doing wonderful things with LAFC. The Dos Santos brothers, who both play for the LA Galaxy, were called into the provisional roster as well. And then you've got what could be one of the great stories, Rafa Marquez, 39 years old, called into the provisional lineup, could make an appearance in his 5th World Cup. I mean, that type of stuff is absolutely staggering for me. A very good team, but I would not be surprised at all if Sweden bounces them out in the group stage.
Another noteworthy team not to qualify, obviously, was Italy. Their longtime goalkeeper, Gigi Buffon, expected to announce his retirement. What would his legacy be on the national stage if that's the case?
Well, I mean, one of the greatest goalkeepers to ever play the game, one of the greatest human beings to ever be participated. in this sport as well. And he cast this wide net for club and country. And everywhere he went, you know, you just kind of wanted to see Gigi, you know, and he had this aura about him. And I don't want to see him step away. I think he can still perform at a high level, but clearly with Italy not making it to the World Cup, much like the United States, there's this conversation internally that we got to reboot. We got to try some things out. And you've been around for a long time. It's time to start bleeding in that next generation. And you're going to see a lot of national teams at the World Cup this year trying to figure out, you know, how do we blend in the old stars with the new stars? And those that are successful with it will have success at the World Cup. Italy now needs to bring in some new youth, some new energy.
30 days out from the World Cup.
30 days. It's tangible. You can smell it. It's right
here. It is coming. But before that, we got a big one. May 26th, the Champions League final. Liverpool, Real Madrid. Rob, who you got?
Well, so many of those guys, too, are going to be playing in 30 days' time at the World Cup as well, including Ronaldo, who's one of the absolute legends of the game right now. And then on the flip side for Liverpool, you got Mo Salah from Egypt, who's becoming this legend. He's overtaken the African continent. He's absolutely owned England with his play this season. I think those two guys are going to be two of the biggest stars on the World Cup stage. But in the end, I love the story of Liverpool. You know, they're clearly the underdog, and they've continued to have this incredible offensive talent with these three attacking players. Mane, you're looking at him right there. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is out for club. He's out for England for the World Cup. That is a big hit. I think Real Madrid for years has basically said to the world and Europe, this is our tournament. You know, as good as you may be in Spain or in Italy or in England, we own this tournament. And they are so comfortable at the Champions League, and I think they're primed to win their third straight Champions League title in a row. That is an amazing stat.
Exciting stuff in the world of soccer right now. Champions League, and we are 30 days out from Fox kicking off their coverage of the World Cup. That gets going June 14th to July 15th. Rob Stone will have you covered start to finish as the host on Fox. Rob, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you from Red Square.
All right.
Orlando Magic co-founder Pat Williams will be hoping for some nostalgia-based luck as he will take a Lil Penny doll with him to tonight's NBA draft lottery. A lot of teams need that top pick, but which team needs number one the most?
I got one you're not going to expect, Robin. The Cleveland Cavaliers. 2.8% chance of getting that number one pick with their draft pick via Brooklyn. Maybe they get number one pick, they get DeAndre Ayton, and that lures LeBron to say, I'll be his mentor. I'll develop him. That'll be my legacy I leave Cleveland with, developing the next star.
I actually did expect that answer because it was going to be my answer. You could use it as a trade as well.
The NBA. Whoa.
Yeah, the Warriors are good. We see eye to eye. Same time, same place. We'll be here tomorrow. Make sure your eyes are on us. In the meantime, go to @SI Now Live on Twitter.
See ya.